Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow With Us. Grow With Us is a podcast that focuses on the talent-focused mission of In Tulsa, a talent advising organization for startups, local businesses, and expanding corporations. My name is Evan Barton, and I will be your host each week, where I'll be joined by a guest who is making a difference in Tulsa by furthering our mission of creating equitable opportunities via technology innovation and strategic partnerships. This week, we are in conversation with a student at Holberton studying software engineering, Valerie Nierenberg, who will be providing some insight into the growing technology and software development community in Tulsa. Welcome, Valerie. It's so great to have you on. Of course. It's so great to see another Hornet in the room. This is like 3 in a row, I think. But yeah, Valerie, I'd love to give you the opportunity to tell your story in kind of whatever way you feel comfortable, like how you got to Tulsa, how you're from Tulsa, all of those things.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So I'm a Tulsa native. I was born and raised in Tulsa, and I have a very loving and supportive family. I attended elementary school at University School at TU, and I was really grateful to have a really good foundation for my education that I received there. I was there from preschool through 8th grade. And I think that probably the most important thing that I learned there was that it's okay to be a little nerdy. It's good to be excited about the things that you're learning and what you're working on and what you're building. They really prepared me very well to move into high school. So from there, I attended Booker T. Washington, go Hornets. And I really had a blast at Booker T. I played soccer. That was a big part of my life growing up. And I was really interested in studying Spanish. And so I was taking advanced Spanish classes, advanced English classes, but I was also taking advanced math and science classes. However, I never really imagined myself going into a STEM career or even studying STEM in college. And I think that in my mind, I kind of saw STEM as like the antithesis of creativity. Mm-hmm. And that really couldn't be farther from the truth. And so that was kind of my high school experience. So anyway, after graduating Booker T, I went to TU, and I graduated in 2017 with a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Spanish. And I really enjoyed my coursework there. I learned a lot about qualitative research methods, quantitative methods, and a lot of Spanish literature. And I also studied abroad in Costa Rica for a semester, which was an incredible experience. Awesome. Yes, I was able to really immerse myself in the culture there and take my Spanish to the next level. And it was really hard to come back. Mm-hmm. But I did, and I graduated from TU in 2017. And then I started working in social work as a bilingual care coordinator at Family and Children's Services. And I was also coaching soccer back at Booker T. Mm-hmm. I was working at Blue Moon Cafe on Brookside during the weekends throughout this whole time. And then most recently, before I decided to pivot into tech, I was working as a development director at a local nonprofit, Tulsa Glassblowing School.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great job. It was a lot of fun. A lot of the work that my role kind of entailed was put on hold during the pandemic. And, the event planning and the fundraising and things like that. And so I, like many others, I believe, in 2020, kind of took a step back and looked at the trajectory of my career and decided that I wanted to pivot into a career in tech. So I decided that I wanted to transition into a career in tech. And that's when my boyfriend Kyle and I found Holberton School, and we decided that we wanted to study software engineering. And so that kind of brings me up to today, and I'm about halfway through our 2-year program. And come April, I'll be certified in full stack software engineering and an AR/VR specialization. And I'm looking to, get an internship or part-time opportunities before graduating in April as well.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like you're a real go-getter, and you definitely know how to fill your time. I'm sure someone's told you that before.
I appreciate that. I like to stay busy. I like to learn new things and always growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you fit right in with the Grow With Us family. You're always growing. No, thank you so much for telling us all of that. It's really interesting for me to kind of hear people's pathway to technology, especially in Tulsa. Because when I left in 2016 and went to school, and I didn't ever see myself bisecting the technology sector. I honestly, when I graduated last year, I didn't know what sector I was going to go into. But kind of being here now and part of this ecosystem development, I really see that there's so many different pathways for everyone to get in, which is what I kind of like that. That's kind of the goal of every, I would say, industry, is that it's accessible to everyone. I feel like Tulsa's doing it right in that way. So yeah, thank you. And also the U School, cool, very cool school. I have lots of friends from there. I will agree with you. Some of them are nerdy, but that's okay.
The best ones are.
Exactly. So you've been in Tulsa your whole life. What has your experience been like? How has it kind of changed over the years? And just what is your relationship with Tulsa like? So
I've enjoyed living in Tulsa. I really liked growing up here. But I think that I wasn't ever really able to appreciate Tulsa for what it is and what it provides until recently. As an adult renting a home and paying the bills here, it offers a lot of just advantages, in my opinion. The affordability and just the ease of transportation are everything. So I really love living here. When I was growing up, no one really went downtown to do anything other than like maybe go to a show at the Canes. And so just to see that growth over the past, I would say 10 or so years has been incredible to watch, and I'm excited to be a part of that continuing. But aside from these things too, I feel like the community of people here are a very special group, and I'm really happy living here. I don't anticipate leaving anytime soon.
That's music to our ears. I love that. I would totally echo you with the ease of access. I always tell people that Tulsa is one of the most like navigable cities ever. I mean, it's on a grid, which makes it a lot easier, but I just feel like I can tell anyone where to go by the landmarks. I learned this acronym when I was in, when I moved here at age 9, it was Golly Miss Molly, shave your hairy legs, please, which was Garnett Mingo Memorial, Sheridan, Harvard, Yale, Lewis, and Peoria. I don't know, like 8-year-old me was like, yeah, I can tell everyone where to go everywhere now. So I love that, obviously. And yeah, I think that I'm moving into my rent house on Monday, and I'm like, yes, I can have a house here. Like it's kind of huge. Like I'm almost 24, and like not a lot of my friends are moving into their homes unless they're in other cities that are as affordable as Tulsa, which like that's few and far between, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's important to me too, have room for my dog to run around. It's being able to run in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It's everything.
Yeah, my cats love more space. I'm definitely a cat person. Awesome. So how have specific communities in Tulsa impacted you and your professional trajectory?
So I would say, aside from my formal education that I've mentioned already, the Jewish community in Tulsa has also really helped shape me into who I am, specifically at Temple Israel. Some of my closest friends growing up were those I connected with through Judaism, and when I was about 15, I was able to travel to Eastern Europe and Israel and visit the concentration camps there, as well as the Dead Sea and Jerusalem and a lot of other amazing places. And that was certainly a transformative experience for me, and I was really grateful to have been provided that opportunity by the Jewish community as well. And so that is definitely another community here in Tulsa that really helped shape me for who I am.
That's awesome. I know a lot of people would share that experience too. Just that I work with in the foundation, lots of people I know share that experience of just what a tight community. They're always bringing different opportunities to each other, and it's really interesting that like that's another one of those ways in which people can get connected here is through their faith. So I love that you had that even growing up here. That's awesome. Okay, so kind of pivoting more into your technology career and your growth at Holberton School. I have so many questions I want to ask you about this. Just first, let's just start with what excites you about the growth of technology in Tulsa.
So it's kind of going off a little bit of what you started talking about earlier. For me, the most exciting part is the chance to be a part of creating a tech community here that values diversity, equity, and inclusion. Makes people feel welcome and like they belong. And also one that produces technologies deliberately so that they are accessible to everyone. I'm really passionate about creating technologies that help people, and I believe that any good technology makes a positive impact in the community or in the lives of individuals. And so I'm just really ready to be a part of building that here in Tulsa and giving back to the community. there are some great organizations that I'm fortunate to be a part of here that are paving the way for these initiatives as well and really embody these values. Oklahoma Women in Technology is an incredibly welcoming organization whose goal is to bridge the gender gap in STEM fields. XR Women is also an amazing global organization that brings people in the industry together to support each other and learn from each other. Techlahoma is a great local organization helping people find jobs in tech, among other things. And at Holberton, I'm a part of the leadership team of Techquity, which is a student-run organization to create an environment that fosters diversity, belonging, equity, and inclusion. I'm also very excited about some of the rumors that I've heard of more AR/VR companies coming to Tulsa. And because this field in particular is growing so exponentially right now, I think it would be amazing for Tulsa to recognize the possibilities of adopting and integrating these technologies and just to be on the forefront of the innovation that's happening in AR/VR.
That's awesome. That's a lot of communities for support. I think that's huge for creating an ecosystem that not only feels supportive of students from all backgrounds, but just like supports each other through the longevity of their careers. It's not just a moment in time that these students are coming here and creating something and then leaving. It's like you're creating an infrastructure, which it sounds like all of these organizations are doing in an equitable way. So I love to hear that, honestly. So kind of for people that might not be familiar with like AR and VR, maybe just give us like a bare bones on that, honestly, because I think I know what the acronyms stand for, but like what have you seen? I guess how is Holberton incorporating that into their curriculum?
Yeah, absolutely. So AR stands for augmented reality and VR stands for virtual reality. So I can kind of give an example of a technology of each of those. And so a good example of AR is the mural actually that's being built here downtown. It's going to be the largest AR mural in the world. And so with AR, it involves there's a physical aspect involved. And so the mural is actually painted on the wall, and then image tracking is used on a camera or other device on a cell phone to track those images and analyze the patterns in order to build that virtual component as well.
Okay.
Whereas virtual reality is where you completely immerse yourself in a virtual world or situation. An example of this is VR gaming, of course. There's also, simulations for training, all types of different applications for these types of technologies that are very far and wide can be found. And that's kind of where the growth has been really exponential right now.
Yeah, everyone wants a little bit of the VR experience. And I think AR was kind of popularized commercially a little bit by Pokemon Go, or at least that's how I felt like I first was introduced to it. Just like getting to see Pokemon on my phone. That's so cool.
Yes, that is another perfect example of AR. And I know that a lot of companies are bringing AR into advertising and have found a lot of success with engagement of their clients. And so things like that are topics that really interest me and I'm excited to learn more about.
That's awesome. Yeah, go ahead and tell us, just for those who might not know, what the Holberton School is and kind of, if you know, also just like how they came to Tulsa.
Yeah. So Holberton is an international software engineering school, and our campus here in Tulsa was established in January 2020. We are able to function because of our partners that include the George Kaiser Family Foundation and I believe the Schusterman Foundation as well. I'm in a 20-month program that will certify me in full-stack software development, and my specialization is in the AR/VR technologies. The program requires about 40 to 60 hours of work per week for me as someone who had no previous coding experience coming into it. Because of the time required, something that really made this program possible for me is a living assistance stipend that's provided by the George Kaiser Family Foundation, so I'm really grateful to have been able to receive that as well. The program is really not for everyone. As opposed to a traditional lecture structure found in most post-secondary computer science programs, Holberton is a peer-based learning model. And so most of our projects are assigned and due within about 1 to 3 days, but some are longer, more involved projects that can span a couple of weeks and usually involve working with partners or a team. Resources are provided on some of the projects, but for others, you're required to go out and find the information on your own. And do your own research through collaboration with peers. And in the first 9 months, the programming languages that we learned were C, Python, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. We built a clone of the Airbnb website that has a backend API data management, We also built a command line interpreter to mimic the Linux shell from scratch. And then for our final portfolio project at the end of the 9-month foundational curriculum, my friends Kyle Witten, Aiden Townsley, Peyton Smith, and I built a multiplayer VR game called Rage Chess, which allows players to express their emotions throughout a game of chess.
Oh, that's awesome. What an emotional game, too. I'm glad you picked up on that and made that into a project. That's awesome.
Yeah, everyone wants to flip the table when they play chess. So we made it happen in virtual reality.
Oh, that's awesome. Go team. Y'all killed it. I think I saw a video from your demo day of that. So that it seemed like a huge success. That's awesome.
So now I'm moving into learning C#, .NET, and diving deeper into Unity. And again, this is without prior experience in coding or in the technology sector at all. And I would say that it really takes a lot of drive and determination to learn these tools and languages with a group of peers. But the work is worth it to me because I know this is what I want to do.
That's awesome. I mean, Unity is really interesting to me, too, because I'm a big video gamer, and I've seen a couple games that are some of my favorites, like when in the opening line it shows that it's like Unity, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so this game was coded all in Unity? Like, that's awesome. And then to hear that Holberton students are learning that, I'm like, okay, cool, we might get some game devs in Tulsa.
Yeah, absolutely. Unity is so much fun to work in, and C# so far is absolutely my favorite language. So I'm very excited to learn more.
That's awesome. And you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I do know that the way that Holberton does their placements after you graduate is an income share agreement. Do you mind telling me a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as opposed to a traditional, upfront payment of tuition, Holberton offers an income share agreement where we pay back part of our income upon graduating. And so there's a threshold of $40,000. If we don't make more than that, we don't pay them anything, which, we all intend to make more than that. And at which point the George Kaiser Family Foundation also incentivizes us to stay in Tulsa because our payback rate is 10% versus 17% a month if we do not reside in Tulsa.
Yes, that's why we're working very hard to bring those jobs to you all. We want you all to stay in Tulsa and to feel like you don't have to just take these skills and go on. We don't want this to be a stop and get your skills and then go somewhere else and use them to better their community. We want you to help better our community. So
yes, and for people like me who love Tulsa and want to stay here, these types of incentives are life-changing.
Yeah, if you want to stay here, we gotta all do our part to make sure that we can stay here and have our opportunities. So that's awesome. Kind of just a future thought. And I think that this question is about as open-ended as possible. So you don't have to be perfect in your answer. But how do you see Tulsa being impacted by this innovation of technology and kind of the impact of the Holberton School on Tulsa?
I think that the opportunities are really endless if our city continues to invest in being on the forefront of the advances in technology. And I'm also a firm believer in the fact that it's never too late to enter the tech field because there are always and always will be new products to build, new innovative ideas to make into realities. I think that it's practically a necessity for Tulsa to invest in tech, and organizations such as In Tulsa and Tulsa Remote and others are doing such a great job to bring and keep tech talent here and in our community by finding great roles for individuals and matching them with companies that are a good fit for them. And so thank you for being part of that endeavor.
Of course, we do it because we see the value not only in keeping this talent here, but just in developing a community that's going to keep giving back. We want to. I like the idea of creating a community of reciprocity, and I feel like a lot of what people in this ecosystem that we're creating here are also really devoted to doing as well. So, for example, like you are involved in all of those organizations that are creating equitable change across the STEM field for the gender gap, and I know also that a lot of those communities are developing programming and initiatives for creating a better environment, an equitable environment for students and anyone across like racial divides. And I think that that's so important. And another thing, I'm just going to get on a soapbox really fast that I love about kind of what's going on here, and especially with Holberton, is that it kind of felt like when I left in 2016 that there wasn't a lot here in terms of this space. So it's being created with like a 21st century perspective on it. And I feel like that's huge. A lot of other places are building off the backs of different industries and kind of just like going with the tides. And maybe this is just like me being excited about my hometown changing. But I don't know. There's just something different about what's going on here than maybe other places. I don't know.
I think it's great because a lot of these other big tech cities don't necessarily have the reputation of being diverse, equitable, things that we can deliberately make happen here together. Mm-hmm. And that really excites me. So I'm on board.
And we're cheap.
Yes.
It's cheap to stay here. It's always an incentive that kind of can go unspoken. Thank you, Valerie, for all of your answers to my questions. And I want to just allow you the opportunity to share with us one more time anything that might be going on in your spaces that you want listeners of Grow With Us to know about.
Thank you. And thank you for having me and just having this conversation with me. Yeah, I would love, for all of the listeners to reach out to me if they feel like they want to talk about AR, VR, or Holberton, or technology, or just Tulsa in general. Please reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. And also be sure to check out the organizations that I mentioned earlier. OKWIT has networking events monthly. We have book club, all types of different things.
Ooh, book club sounds fun. Awesome. Thank you so much, Valerie. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing with us everything that was discussed. I'd like to plug a few resources for our listeners of Grow With Us that might be of use to you. If you'd like to stay in touch with all of our featured jobs and opportunities in Tulsa, then please join our talent network. By joining our talent network, you let us know you're interested in working with an in-Tulsa company, and our talent team will make sure we put the right opportunities on your radar. You can join at talentintulsa.com. That's talent.intulsa.com. Stay tuned for more episodes of Grow With Us about tips and tricks for the job application process, learning more about the amazing communities of support in Tulsa, and the tech and innovation that is attracting people across the country to the heartland.